So what if I told you that Chat GPT could save you time and improve your Google Ads, and probably not in the ways that you're thinking? And I have some pretty neat tricks to show you in this video. For the last many years, I've been managing Google Ads campaigns for a ton of clients and spend countless hours adjusting everything manually. I still adjust everything manually, but there are some tricks that I do to get more time, and this involves the use of Chat GPT. I've been working on this for a while and I've come up with a few systems that can really help us to speed up our workflow and get more time and improve our Google Ads all at the same time using Chat GPT. It's amazing. And the best part, it's really not that hard. And we can save ourselves loads of time by doing this. But there's a but. If you do use premium version, I have a few extra bonus tips that you can use to make your life even better. We'll get into those later. Let's talk about saving time. I'm going to show you a trick that is not only going to save you time, but it's also going to help you find things in your campaign that you didn't even know existed or you didn't have time to look for. With Google Ads, we've all spent a ton of time thumbing through numbers and data constantly. Sometimes there is so much data that you just can't go through it all. In fact, I might be giving you a bit of a nervous twitch just mentioning this. So ask yourself, how long would it take to go through 500, 1,000, 3,000 or more search terms? Hours, right? So let's give ourselves a bit of a break and get some time back that'll help get rid of this nervous twitch. Looking for the right keywords in Google Ads can be like finding a needle in a haystack. ChatGPT acts like the magnet, pulling some of the best keywords without causing us to go cross-eyed. We can start out by simply using ChatGPT to go through hundreds and thousands of search terms, and once you know the setup, it's easy, painless, and fun, I guess? Well, fun may not be the right term to use. Now you're probably thinking that this will be easy, and you're right, you can do it this way, but I'm going to show you some other ways that we can do it. So let's head over to my computer and take a look, and I'll show you a few different ways that we can set this up. All right, now that we're in our Google Ads account, we're going to go over and try to find our search terms. There's two places you're going to find them. Either you're going to find them under Insights and Reports here, and it's going to drop down. You're going to see search terms. The other spot you're going to see search terms is under Keywords, and depends on your account. If you're working in a manager account, you're probably going to see it under Keywords. If you're working in just a regular account, you're going to see it in Insights and Reports. So I'm going to go in Insights and Reports. Most of you are probably going to see it in here. You go down to search terms. Now we're gonna download these search terms. So make sure that you're on the right campaign. So you want to be on the campaign that you want to download. If you want to download all your search terms, then go to all campaigns. And you're going to go over here to download. So you're going to hit this download button here. So once you click on download, you can either select Excel, CSV, or Google Sheets. It doesn't really matter which one you select. Pick the one that's going to work best for you. In this case, as long as we're using ChatGPT 3, the free version. If we're using the paid version, I'll show you a trick with that in a second here. So let's just say we're using Google Sheets at the moment because most of you are going to have access to Google Sheets. Some of you might not have access to Excel. So let's do Google Sheets, and you're just going to name it. I'm just going to name mine search term report. That's fine. Hit download. It's going to take a few minutes, but once that's done, you can hit open sheet. And now you have access to all the search terms that you were looking at a few minutes ago. So once you're in your Google Doc, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll delete this top row here. So I'll hit delete row 1 and 2, and then everything else should work. So as long as this is your top row right now, you want this search terms and all that to be your top row because that's going to be your filter. So you can come up here now, select all, which is this corner here, and then hit the filter button. And now you can see you can now sort the data. So you could sort this by highest to lowest. You're still going to have these. If you sort by highest to lowest, you can get rid of these as well. So I'd probably get rid of these. And now it's sorted by highest to lowest. And what we're going to do in this case is we're going to take this information here. I'm going to take the search term information. I'm going to go down the list here to about, let's start with maybe 500. You could probably go further. It's going to depend on how much tolerance ChatGPT has for this. And it's going to depend on if you have the paid plan or you have the free plan and what is happening in ChatGPT at that time. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, I find. So copy that out, or how many letters are in there as well, because the more letters, the more data it is for Chat GPT and the less search terms you can usually use. So I copied that out, and now we're going to go to our Chat GPT. So here's Chat GPT. This is the free version of Chat GPT. I'm using this to demo how it works in the free version. I'll show you tricks in the paid version. So first thing we want to do is we want to tell Chat GPT what we want from it. So we're going to tell it that please analyze these search terms from my Google Ads account, and then keep in mind that this is a stroller company that sells for many brands. So you want to give it kind of a bit of context here. And I'm giving it really not a whole lot of context, but you might actually want to give it more context and try to make sure it understands what it's looking for. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to paste this list in here below. Now it's going to understand that these search terms are from a Google Ads account, and it's going to analyze them. I could give it some more information here as well. Let's see what else could we ask it to do. Please extract any search terms that appear irrelevant or very high in the funnel. Again, I could spend more time doing this, but for now I want to just demo what you can do, and you can have it do anything really. Now, before we hit enter, I wanted to show you something that I did here. I hit shift, I hold shift down, and I hit enter. That's what's allowing me to make the space. If you hit enter, it's going to send it. So if you're trying to write this information up here and then you paste something below and you try to make space and all of a sudden you send it through, this causes me so many headaches. So get used to using shift, enter, and that's how you make these spaces to kind of organize what you're writing in here. So I'm going to hit enter this time, and now it sends it through. And as you can see, it's pulling out all these search terms. So based on the provided search terms, it appears that some of these search terms may be irrelevant or very high in the funnel. Here are the search terms that might be considered irrelevant or broad. So it's giving me a lot of search terms, like, for example, baby would be a very broad search term. This is for a stroller brand. The term baby is probably too broad and probably also kind of irrelevant for this. Strollers is more relevant, but is very broad. So now you could say, okay, let's break this data into different ways. You could say, could you break out the irrelevant searches now and separate that from the high funnel searches? And it's going to do that, and it's going to go through it. This is just a quick way to go through 500 searches or 1,000 searches, depending on how many it's going to let you put in here. So once it pulls these search terms out, don't just add them into your account blindly. This is now your turn to think about these. I don't pull out everything I see. In fact, I'm pretty selective with negative keywords. You actually want to go through the list and really think about the terms that you're pulling out. Pick out some of the really bad ones and add those as negative keywords. If you have the paid version of Chat GPT, I have another trick for you that can save you some more time. I also found that this trick actually allows me to send even more search terms to Chat GPT for it to analyze at once. I've sent through thousands of terms this way in the past. When using the paid version, start by downloading your search terms. This time, be sure to download it as a CSV file. I found the CSV files work the best for ChatGPT. Then open up that CSV file and delete everything except the search terms column. Save your CSV file and drag it onto ChatGPT and give it another prompt to analyze the search terms. You could use the same prompt as before, or maybe you switch it up and look for competitor brand names or other data that you want to cut up and have ChatGPT pull out for you. There's really endless possibilities here that you can do when it comes to what you want ChatGPT to look for, but you can have it kind of do that initial search for things and cut up that data for you and pull it out, and now you have all this information to work with, and you don't have to go through everything. You can have ChatGPT kind of do the hard work for you. Now ChatGPT will analyze that document and pump out suggestions for you to go through. And once you're done with that, you can have ChatGPT actually go through it again in a different way and pull out different data for you. So you could have, like I said, the brand names, you could have competitor searches, you could have locations, you could, any way you want to cut this data up, you can have ChatGPT do that for you. And it's going to do a pretty good job, not a perfect job, but pretty good job. And it's going to find you those terms so you can look at them later. If you're getting value from this, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I'm sure it helps the algorithm, but it also helps me to know what videos you guys actually appreciate and what ones you like the best. All right, so now that you know how to use it with search terms, let's talk about how you can use ChatGPT for other things in your Google Ads account. So this is probably what you thought of when you first clicked on this video. we're going to be talking about improving your ad copy. But there's a few tricks in here that I have that are going to take it from this level down here all the way up to here. So let's dive into how we can get better results and use Chat GPT to improve your ad copy. So in order to make some really compelling ad copy, we need to first feed the system. Essentially, we need to give the system some context. This is one thing that people often forget to do. They might ask the system, give me some headlines related to our teddy bear store. ChatGPT then goes hard at work and makes all the kinds of assumptions about your business and spits out a few headlines for you. But more than likely, you're going to get a whole bunch of robotic sounding headlines that really don't speak to your business. So what I like to do instead is copy all my text from my About page, or grab another page that's on your website that maybe talks about your business. Grab that information and paste it into ChatGPT, where you can add some context for ChatGPT. So you give ChatGPT all this context, all this information, and now they have something that they can actually work with to improve your ad copy. So you can even set this up as a bit of a template. Put it in a Google Doc somewhere and grab this information when you're ready to make your headlines. You can paste it into ChatGPT and say, this is the information about my business, and this is what I want you to refer to when making my headlines. It gives them a bit of context to work with. This helps the system to know exactly what it needs to produce great results. I then send all this information over to ChatGPT, and like I said, I'll have this template or this About page information, and I'll put it in there and I'll ask it to make some headlines, but I'm also going to have to do one more thing. I'm going to have to make sure that it's following certain restrictions, because Google Ads, you have headlines that are 30 characters, you have descriptions that are 90 characters. We have to make sure that it's falling in those restrictions. So we'll ask it to put those restrictions on our headlines as it spits them out. So we have all this information, we have restrictions, and now it's going to spit it out. And it's going to do probably a pretty good job now. We could also ask it to write in a certain tone. So we could ask it to write in a similar tone to our About page, or maybe if we have another large bit of writing that we've written for this purpose, we could have it spit out some information in that tone. So it's going to use similar words that you would normally use. It's going to make it sound a little better and less robotic, less like a professor teaching at a college, and more like someone that's actually explaining this to your customer, which is what you want. Another thing you can do is actually use different formulas that you can get online. You can get all these different formulas for ad copy, and you could actually tell ChatGPT to use a certain formula to come up with different headlines, different descriptions, and they're going to come up with these different headlines and descriptions using this formula and using all the information you provided before. So you kind of have to have a stack of information that you're giving ChatGPT before you hit the send button. As soon as you hit send, ChatGPT starts working. So make sure you're hitting Shift Enter. That's going to save you some time. Shift Enter allows you to go to the next line without sending it every time. Because if you could just keep sending it through, ChatGPT is going to come up with all kinds of assumptions, and you don't want that. So you want to make sure that you add all this information in before you send your request. And it can be kind of a pain if you keep sending it through and ChatGPT makes all these assumptions, spits out some information, and it's not what you want. So another place we can use all this information is with site links, callouts. We can take all the information we already provided to ChatGPT and use it for all these different kind of assets like Performance Max, site links, callouts. Like I said, there's a lot we can do, and we can add the different restrictions because some of these might have different character restrictions that we can use, but we can tell ChatGPT use that About page that we already gave you and now fill out some site links, use some callouts, and give us some information like that. So we're kind of improving things, giving ourselves some ideas with suggestions. Again, we can't take what ChatGPT has just given us and copy paste that into our accounts. We want to use our heads here and make sure we kind of analyze what's being given to us and look through it and then paste in what makes sense and adjust and modify it so it sounds more like the person writing it or more like what you want it to sound like. Because I've found that ChatGPT will sometimes even make up lies. So you have to really watch this. I've had it come out with 50 years experience and I look on the site and there's no 50-year experience anywhere on the website. So you have to watch this and make sure that you're checking these things and even when you call ChatGPT on this and say, hey, where's this 50 years coming from? It just says, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. And then you ask it to fix it and it does it again. So you keep an eye on it. The AI is not perfect, so it will definitely cause you some headaches if you just let it do its thing and then copy paste into your account. So here's a trick that you can use now with the premium version of Chat GPT in this scenario. So you can actually take a URL from a website and paste it in Chat GPT. It's going to use Bing and it's going to analyze that website. It's going to go over, instead of copying and pasting everything, you can actually take your about page now, put that URL and say, can you analyze this? And then come up with some ad copy for this. And we can apply all the same things we were talking about before, but now you can just save yourself some time by taking that URL, paste it in, have ChatGPT actually look through the website, and it's going to be able to provide you with a quick summary of all that. And then it's going to be able to use that information to help improve your ads. So it's just a quick add-on that you can do, save you some time. And yeah, it's really handy because you can now paste in any website in there and it's going to go search for that website, analyze it for you, and come up with suggestions depending on what you want to come up with. So come up with different headlines, different descriptions, all kinds of stuff. Now, again, the only downside to what I was just explaining is that you have to have the paid version to make this work. But I really find the paid version adds a lot to it. For one, you can use ChatGPT 4, which I find is much smarter than the 3. So to me, it's worth having that. I don't think it's very much right now, but it is a monthly fee that you have to pay to have ChatGPT 4, as well as the paid version, and be able to do the URL and all that. But you can do a lot of this stuff I'm talking about here with ChatGPT 3. There's no issues there. It's just you get that added few features there with the ChatGPT 4. It's a smarter version of the AI, and you also get, for example, you can analyze URLs. You can also bring in images now, and it can analyze an image. Limited use for Google Ads on this, but there are some case scenarios that you can use it to help improve your ads that way. Now imagine you're working on an account and you get a question in your mind. If I have a margin of 25% and I have a return on ad spend of 8 times, so this would be 8 times my return on ad spend, and my other account has a product with a margin of 35%. However, the return on ad spend is only at 6 times. So you're getting less of a return on ad spend, but you have higher margins. And you have a third campaign that is 5% margins, but has 20 times return on ad spend, huge return on ad spend, but it's only getting 5% in your margins. Which is more profitable? Now, I'm sure there's some people out there that could probably just do the math on this and figure it out pretty quick. But for the regular people out there, for myself included, I can use ChatGPT to help me with that math. I can just say, okay, what one would be the better scenario, and can you go over the math and lay out the math for me? And then I can double check its math once it spits it out. So this is a really handy feature, and it's like having a smart calculator with you. And I wouldn't trust ChatGPT 3 as much as I would with 4. I found that sometimes it doesn't come up with the right answers. So keep that in mind. You want to kind of double check things, but it's really handy to have. And a lot of times you can plunk all these numbers in. It's going to tell you how to come up with that answer, and it's also going to give you an answer. Just maybe run it through a calculator after, if it gives you the math, and just run it through. Just make sure its math is done properly. It's probably going to give you the right directions, but sometimes the math, for whatever reason, doesn't come out right. So just keep that in mind. But it's really handy because now you can take this question that's like, the one train's going 45 miles an hour and the other train's going 35 miles an hour, and they're 80 miles apart. What time are they going to collide, or where are they going to collide? Like this kind of complicated question. But in Google Ads, we have lots of those questions, and we can just talk to Google Ads, or we can talk to ChatGPT, give them this information, and it spits out an answer and gives us some help on what direction or what one would be more profitable. So with this, there's almost endless possibilities. And again, there's one more feature with the premium version that helps you with this. You could actually add in an Excel sheet, just like we were doing earlier in this video. We could add an Excel sheet. Well, we probably want to use CSVs to make it easier on ChatGPT, but we could take that CSV and we could now put in different information into a table, and we could have ChatGPT actually look at that information and give us some suggestions on what it thinks is happening. So this could have so many possibilities in Google Ads. I've never found an exact case where I'm like, yes, that's what we have to do with these tables. But there are so many possibilities and so many creative things we could possibly do with it. With a few numbers, like if, for example, if you had like 10 different numbers and you're like, okay, let's look at the device bids of all these products and just kind of analyze them and spit out what ones are doing the best and maybe base it on a certain baseline return on ad spend. We're kind of going into the weeds here, but there's so much we can do when it comes to Chat GPT and Google Ads, and I'm probably just scratching the surface right now. So Chat GPT is a great tool that can really help you with a ton of different problems when it comes to marketing and Google Ads, and it can certainly help you with your search campaigns and your shopping campaigns. But even with Chat GPT on your side, there are still some big problems that I see all the time in shopping ads. And not many people can get this right. In fact, I almost never see people get this right. And without getting this right, your marketing efforts aren't going to go anywhere. So make sure you watch this next video because there are a lot of pitfalls that people fall into with Google Shopping ads. And I'm going to show you how to avoid those by going into a system that I use for my Google Shopping ads.